Hi mommies and daddies, and welcome back to my channel. I know you're like, where have you been? It has been so long. It has been so long with the mixture of all this COVID going on and all this stuff that I have to tell y'all. It's just been like kind of mentally like draining. But we are on to bigger and better things. We have to get motivated, and that is what I am trying to do right now. So if you are new here, please go ahead and press the red subscribe button below and turn on your post notification bell so that you know every time I post. And everyone who is subscribed and who do watch my videos, I really appreciate it. And I really hope that you guys continue to show me support even though I've been slacking off. Excuse me. What is the deal? You want to get on the floor? Because I know you don't want to do that either. So I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible by giving the most in-depth details, even though what had happened, it needs every detail, but I don't want this video to be too long. Do not take that off. It's pretty. It's pretty. It's pretty. Leave it on. It's pretty. I can't help but to laugh. It was pretty. So yeah, so please just try to bear with me while I'll go ahead and tell you guys this experience. I've never heard of this happening to anyone before, and I'm pretty sure that just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean that it's not happening, and it could happen to you, and I could actually help you prevent that. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. So it was April 21st or April 22nd. In the middle of the night, she wakes up and I noticed that she was warm. So I'm like, oh, I hope this is just because maybe she has too many clothes on or too many blankets. Here, you want to eat it? Something like that. Even though I knew kind of deep in my heart that that's not what it was. I knew that she had a fever, but I'm sort of in denial. And I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and take off her clothes. Let me stay up with her for a little bit and just try to make sure that she cools down. Open up the windows and everything, and we go back to sleep. I think her temperature. No, I'm lying. I knew she had a fever for sure, because I took her temperature. Her temperature was like a 10. It was like, no, it was 101.2 or 101.4, something like that. So I'm just like, let me go ahead and just try to cool her down. So that's what I did. This was like in the middle of the night, around like between 3 and 4 in the morning. So I went on ahead and went back to sleep. She had no clothes on, and as the day went on, she did not seem as warm. Like, I think her temperature stayed around like 99 or something like that, but I'm thinking, okay, since it's going down, maybe it's some type of flu. Like maybe I don't know, something was going on with her body. So the next early morning, around 3 or 4 in the morning, she wakes up and the temperature is like 102 something. So I went on ahead, give her some Tylenol. And now mind you, she has no runny nose, no cough, no nothing. She's literally just warm. No other illness symptoms, no, like nothing. She just has a fever. So I'm thinking, okay, I've been down this road plenty of times. Even if she did have a cough or runny nose, I know when I take her to the doctor, they're gonna say it's viral, which is nothing they could do about it anyway. But tell you, go ahead and give her some Tylenol, try to keep her comfortable. And I'm like, there's no point in me wasting my time going to the doctor for that. So, here, Tegan. So, I'm like, okay, well, it's higher from the other night, so let me go ahead and call the doctor to make sure she doesn't have an ear infection. Let me just go ahead and just take her so that they can at least look in her ears, because of course I can't look in her ears even though she wasn't tugging at them or anything. Let me just go ahead and get it checked. So, and this was during the whole COVID shutdown, so we wasn't able to see her. We wasn't able to see her regular doctor. We ended up seeing another doctor on call. So, go in and they weigh her and everything. I'm just kind of skipping over parts to get to the point. So the doctor comes in, she asks me like, how has she been acting? I told her like literally she has no other symptoms, no cough, no runny nose, no tugging at the ears, nothing. She literally just has a fever. She checked her ears are fine. What she did mention to me though, you pointing? What she did mention was Tegan's size and her weight. Mind you, I took her when she was 9 months. This happened when she was at 9 months, but she hadn't had her 9-month appointment yet, her 9-month physical yet. I think it was supposed to be the following week. So, mind you, Tegan, she was only like, I feel like 11, she was between 11 pounds, 8 ounces, or 11 pounds, 11 ounces. Pretty much the same exact size she was when I took her when she was 7 months. Okay, now y'all know from my previous videos, she's small, she's always been small, and that's just how it is. But really, she hasn't gained any weight since, well, in 2 months. So again, because this whole COVID is going on, she went on ahead and she told me to go to AI because any additional tests, she said that she would like to be on the safe side. So just go ahead and get any tests done that need to be done. I'm thinking AKA test her for COVID, but even though I know she didn't have no COVID, but go ahead, test her for that. And my God, go ahead, test her for that. And as far as her size is concerned, she did say, I am concerned, but let's go ahead and get her well and then worry about her weight. So I was like, okay. So my husband and I, we go over to AI Children's Hospital, for anyone who doesn't know. Little did I know, when I went in, I would not be coming back out. So we go in, they have to ask us these questions, of course, according to COVID. Now, mind you, the doctor had already called in to the hospital letting them know that I would be coming. Letting them know that I would be coming. So I go ahead, check in. Like, all that went pretty fast. We went on ahead, they seen that the doctor called in, they took us back, they checked our weight, they pretty much did all of the normal stuff. They take us back into the room and we're waiting. So I'm thinking, hey, this is going by pretty fast. Maybe it's a good thing that COVID is going on, because they don't want to just have you sitting around waiting because, of course, of the whole COVID. So now, mind you, my husband couldn't come in. He could not come in. Because of COVID, there's only one parent per child, and he was sitting out in the parking lot. So I'm gonna say like 2 doctors came in, asked me all these questions. Now, mind you, in the midst of us sitting in the ER, in the midst of us sitting in the ER, like 2 doctors come in or ask me questions about her symptoms, and not only symptoms, but also her story, like from birth. Was she a preemie? How much does she weigh? Like, just literally asking me all these questions about her. So of course I told them everything. Yeah, she was a preemie. She only weighed this much. She was in NICU for this long. She did great. I literally told them everything. Doctor's appointments, from the things doctors said to growth charts, everything. And because I was being asked this question so much, I'm like, do y'all think it's like a correlation? And again, they're just asking general questions because, of course, you know, if they can't find what's actually causing her sickness, maybe it could be something that's like underlying that's going on. So they just want to get the backstory. So we went ahead. So I went through that so many times. In the meantime, they did an IV, which was so hurtful for me. Like, I cried with her. They wanted to check for UTI, so they had to put in a catheter. She cried, I cried with her. Like, it was just a lot. I'm on the phone on and off with my husband during FaceTime, just regular phone, like he's just talking to me. So the doctor, my gosh, the doctor comes in, and I pretty much have to explain everything I already went through 100 times with him. And you know, he did show definite concern for her size, and was calling her failure to thrive. And through all this, all that's going through my mind is, I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right, and it's just unfortunate that it had to come to this. Now, he didn't know, you know, he doesn't really know obviously what's going on with her. Of course, they had just taken blood and urine and stuff like that. They tested her for stuff that really wasn't even necessary. Like they tested her for sepsis, which is a blood infection. But I mean, we all knew she didn't have that. But again, just wanted to make sure that Tegan, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Here, let's go get Brittany. Let's get Brittany. Look at Brittany. You see Brittany?
I love you.
Oh, Brittany! Morning, noon, and night. Okay. So we went on ahead, did all this testing and wait. Now, mind you, I'm sitting in the ER just waiting for test results, things like that. So the doctor comes in and he tells me, okay, we want to admit her. We want to admit her, not only because, not necessarily because of the fever, but because of her failure to thrive. We don't know if her illness has anything to do with her immune system and her being so small and not being able to fight things off. So when he told me that, I'm like, no. I'm like, I am not physically or mentally prepared to stay here. I mean, to have her admitted. And I'm like, well, she has a doctor's appointment on Monday, so let me just go ahead and talk to her doctor and kind of go from there. And I just want to go ahead and call my husband and see what he has to say. So he's like, okay, I'll go ahead and give you time to go ahead and talk to him and come up with a decision. So I ended up talking to him. We pretty much came to the same conclusion, like, not tonight. I'm just not ready. As badly as I want to know what's going on with her in her growth, I'm just not ready right now. Like, let me get prepared to have her admitted. So the doctor comes back in and So the doctor comes back in and I told him my decision, and he was like, okay, I recommend that she stays here because she's already here. You know, with the whole coronavirus going on, it is hard to get appointments to come back. And if she does come back Monday, she'll have to go through all of this all over again. In the back of my mind, I'm just like, why? If she was already, if like all the tests are here in the system, so I don't know why we have to do. I don't know why we would have to do all of this again. But, you know, he was like, I'm not trying to, he was really, really nice. You know, I'm not trying to persuade you or, you know, trying to make you stay here, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather get everything knocked out and knowing that she is going to be okay and that she's in good hands, compared to you going home and her condition actually getting worse. So he did go ahead and he stressed that to me. Again, really, really nice. And I thought about it, and I called my husband again, and we decided to stay. So when I decided to stay is when they decided to do they wanted to test her for this virus panel. this virus panel had a list of viruses on it that they tested for. So they went on ahead, they had to stick a thing, like a swab up her nose and do this virus testing panel. That comes back negative for everything that's on the panel. I don't know what's on there, how many, I just know that she tested negative. So I'm like, okay. Then they tell me, okay, so since that came back negative, we're going to test her for COVID. Are you kidding me? Why didn't y'all do that all at the same time? Why didn't y'all do that at the same time that y'all tested her for that? And supposedly they had to test her for other viruses first. Again, I know my daughter doesn't have COVID, but this is what they got to do. So they go ahead, they do that, and mind you, I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. I fell asleep. We waited until her results came back negative, and we finally was able to go to a room. All in all, I spent 13 hours in an ER. Now, mind you, I could go into a bunch of details of what happened in that time frame, but I'm trying to keep this on track and to the point. So we finally get to our room around like 2:30 in the morning. So we finally get to the room around 2:30 in the morning. I end up telling my husband to go home around like 9, 10 o'clock. Mind you, we got there before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He was sitting out there the whole entire time. So it was just awful. It was just awful. So we finally get to our stationary room around like 2:30 in the morning. The nurse, the resident on file, she did come in and introduce herself and basically let me know that, you know, tomorrow is when the next day is when we're going to look forward to basically starting investigation of what's going on with her. So this happened April 23rd that we actually went in. After multiples, again, I'm trying to keep this short. After multiple tests and evaluations and asking me questions and me meeting with different doctors and they ask me the same questions and I have to come in and I have to go ahead and tell my story over and over and over again. And they ask me questions about what she eats and what her daily life looks like. Now, I'm pretty sure that y'all remember from previous videos that she eats. Like, she eats and she loves to eat. She eats any and everything, not picky. She would guzzle it down and that would be the end of it. So I told them the same thing. So again, after blood work comes back, they did see that she was vitamin D deficient. And some of the other little levels were low, like her phosphorus and calcium, but nothing that would be causing her to be dramatically small for her size, for her age, and as to what would be causing the fever. So all in all, we never found out what was causing the fever. However, what we did find was very sad. It was very heartbreaking to me and I was in denial at first, but come to find out, she was not drinking enough milk from me and essentially was malnourished / starving. And when they kind of mentioned that to me, I'm like, no. Do you understand how much she eats? Like, she eats. I can give her like 20 blueberries and she'll eat them. I can give her like 15 raspberries. Just bitter. I can give her 20 blueberries and she'll eat it. I'll give her 10 raspberries and she'll tear them up. I can give her 6 French fries and she'll tear them up. Like, I'm like, no, she eats. There's no way I'm starving her. She eats. And they're like, no. we're not saying that, that you do not give her food and that she doesn't eat it. But we don't believe that she's getting the correct amount of milk that she should be getting. And especially since this whole COVID happened, I was solely just breastfeeding. Because I wasn't out working. So I'm like, well, you know, y'all know that I had all this milk stashed. So I'm like, there's no point in me touching that since I'm just home with her full time now. She can just eat off of me and I can use that milk for a rainy day. So they asked me if I had some pump milk at home, and I'm like, yeah, of course. So they wanted to just do like a trial and be like, okay, you can breastfeed her, no problem, but will she also take a bottle? I said, yeah. And they wanted to see how much she was actually drinking out of the bottle. I'm like, okay. Would y'all believe my baby was tearing milk up out of a bottle? She was tearing it up, like gone in 60 seconds. That was her with the milk. And I'm like, okay, well, being as though I'm not even going to really try to focus on her breastfeeding. I'm not going to worry about her really trying to feed off of me because I want to show them how much she's actually drinking. I'll just go ahead and pump for her and put it in a bottle and give it to her. Would y'all believe that I was only getting 1 ounce? I was literally essentially, all this time I thought that she was eating what she wanted, because like literally she would suck off of me and then she would let go when she wanted to let go. Like, I never stopped her from eating. I never not gave her the breast. I would give it to her, she would let go when she was done and move on about her day, her time. I did not know that I only had 1 ounce of milk in my breast. So do y'all understand how disturbing that was when I'm pumping and there's really nothing coming out and she's over here tearing 4 ounces of milk up at a time? Like, she wasn't physically starving because, like I said, like I fed her all the time. And she would stop when she was full. Like she always stopped when she was done. So the fact that she was starving all this long time was so sad. It was so sad. And I'm just like, how could this happen? And they told me that literally babies need milk. That is their main source of nutrition. Whether they're eating table food or not, that is their main source of nutrition. And they need that up until at least the age of 1 year old. So even though she was physically getting full from the food that she was putting in her body, it wasn't enough to actually supply her with all the nutrients that she needed, which was in the milk, which I wasn't giving her, not knowing. Do y'all understand how bad of a person and a mother I felt like knowing this? And I'm pumping and pumping and pumping, and it's like literally nothing more than 1 ounce is coming out. So I was having my husband come up to the hospital every day to bring me milk for her. So, and like literally it seemed like within 24 hours, she gained 8 ounces. Gained 8 ounces, like overnight, just from drinking milk. And I done lost my train of thought. And so with that being said, with her drinking milk, we're like, she's gained weight. She was just a completely different child. Like, she just had more energy, more motivation. She had to do her daily labs, and they was taking labs twice a day. They come and they tell me that she has refeeding syndrome. And I'm like, okay. Like, what is that? Refeeding syndrome happens after you start eating again, after starving for a certain period of time, whether it's with a fast or malnourishment or being starved. When your body starts getting food again, it doesn't, like, it's confused, like it doesn't really know what to do with all the extra nutrients, so it makes like your levels go crazy. So important levels for her, like such as magnesium and phosphorus, all the stuff I learned in the hospital, had dropped dangerously low, which, you know, I never heard of it, but I looked it up. Like, refeeding syndrome, like, it's actually serious. Like, it could cause cardiac arrest and you can die just by eating again. Like, who would have thought that by eating again you can kill yourself? So with that being said, she had to get IV drips to bring her levels back up to at least, not necessarily normal levels, but better than what they were. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle being in the hospital in quarantine for 8 days. Not 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 8 days we were in the hospital. I was mentally going in, like, I was going insane because of the whole COVID. Like, we couldn't even leave our room. Like, she was doing so good. Like, she wasn't hooked up to any machines. Like, literally, we were just sitting in a small room 24 hours a day. There was no reason for us to leave the room. They brought everything to you. Your food, you have your bathroom, you have your shower, you have your bed. Everything's there for you. There's really no excuse to leave the room. The only time I left the room was to go downstairs and to get the things that I asked my husband to bring me. I think for a total of 8 days of being in the hospital, I seen him maybe 4 minutes for a total of 8 days. Of course, I mean, we talked on the phone all day and like we were like FaceTime and stuff like that, but it was mentally draining. So once we finally got released, we did have a nurse come. We had a nurse come to the house for 2 weeks, twice a week, Monday and Friday, to do her weight, just to make sure that, you know, she was gaining appropriately. And she did. Honestly, she's been doing great ever since. I just took her, well, not just, but the day she got released from, the day after she got released from the hospital was when we went to go see her her pediatrician, just like as a follow-up, because that's what they like to do. And she was 12 pounds 5 ounces, and then she wanted us to come back 4 weeks later to do her 9-month checkup, but technically at that point she was already 10 months, but that's just what we did. Within 4 weeks, she gained a pound. So she was 13 pounds, 5 ounces. She goes again at 11 months for a regular weigh-in, and then again, she has her 12-month visit. But during this whole entire time, and I'll actually kind of save this for another video, I have been pumping every single day, and on average, and I know I could do better, it's just so like time consuming, but I'm trying to stay in a positive mindset. But literally, I'm just not producing as much milk as I would like. I've been taking supplements, I've been trying to drink water, I've been trying to, you know, pump no more than 3 hours apart. And the morning is when I have the most. I'll get 6 ounces out, 3 ounces out of each one, but I'm averaging an ounce and a half from each boot during the day. which is so sad because I'm like literally at the end. Like I can like count the bags that's in my deep freezer, and I'll go ahead and put pictures in this video somewhere to show y'all. Like I had a freezer full, and then I also, so I can count like the bags that's in my deep freezer right now, but then I also have milk that's in my regular freezer. But on average, I can get between 13 to 14 ounces of pumping milk out. And she drinks now an average of like between 28 and 30 ounces a day, which she should have been drinking months ago. So I have bought certain supplements, and I'm trying everything in my power to go ahead and at least get a decent supply back up so that I don't have to put her on formula. But you know, worst case scenario, I have to do what I have to do. Like I don't think like for the health for the health of her, I will try to pump until the last drop comes out. But it's just sad. Like I did not know that she wasn't getting enough nutrients in milk. I didn't know. Like I fed her when she wanted to eat. She stopped, she let go when she was done. But she is getting bigger. She is gaining weight. She is fitting 3 to 6 months now. Remember y'all, she was in 0 to 3 months comfortably. Her Pampers are getting too small, so I'm no longer buying size 1s. She will be getting size 2s. It's so funny because now she does not eat nearly as much table food. Honestly, like she barely eats it. She just spits it out and throws it, and she much rather have her milk. And at this point, I'm totally okay with that because at least I know she's actually benefiting from it. But yeah, so that is what has happened and what has been on my mind. I'm just trying everything that I can possibly think of to try to get my milk supply back. But I don't think, like, I have a few more thoughts in mind, but other than that, I really think it's just about that time that it just really slows down, because all the milk that I had pumped before was hormonal. Like I still had a bunch of prolactin running through my body. So that's the hormone that your body produces that says, hey, make milk. And as baby gets older and you start introducing solids, that prolactin slows down. And yeah, I mean, I've watched so many videos of people like relactating, like people who have dried up and then started producing milk again. Hold on, people who stopped lactating and dried completely up, and then because they were taking supplements, it was triggering their breasts, like pumping and stuff, making it seem like a baby was sucking, they was able to relactate. So I'm like, oh well, if they can relactate, I never stopped technically, therefore there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get it back. But nothing really has been working, so I'm trying not to, be too sad about it, and because whatever is going to be is what it's going to be. As long I had so much milk. And now it's just gone. But I mean, that's what it was for. It was for a rainy day. But I want to go ahead and kind of save that for a different video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an insight of what happened. And that it's very, very possible. I mean, of course I'm just like, oh my God, how could I have not realized that? And I had such a healthy milk flow. How could this have happened? But it did. And I'm just happy that we were able to go ahead and get baby girl back healthy again. And now she's growing, and she's like a completely different baby. So let me go ahead and wrap up this long video. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask me in the comments down below. I do check my comments and I do reply back to them. So yeah, please let me know if you have any questions or any advice you can give me. I feel like I've tried almost everything. Again, I have a few more tricks up. I have a few more tricks up my sleeve, but yep, she is. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but she is getting bigger. She is chunkier, and yeah, I mean, she's getting better, and we know what was going on. So until next time, I'll see you mommies and daddies soon. Bye.